There's a fundamental difference between a need and a want. A need is usually defined as something that we literally have to have in order to survive. So that could be water, it could be nourishment, it could also be psychological acceptance or a good feeling, and so on. The point is that we all have needs, and we have to satisfy those needs often periodically, in the case of water or something like that. Where it gets interesting, though, is when we make the jump from needs to wants, because a want is only one way to satisfy a need. There's an old saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and that's really the difference between a need and a want. We have lots of different ways to satisfy a need, and a lot of that is determined by the culture in which we grew up and the particular society in which we live. So, for example, if I get really hungry, depending on whether I'm in Philadelphia or Mumbai or Beijing, I might have a very different way to satisfy that hunger. And all of them will work equally well in terms of satisfying a need, but not all of them necessarily satisfy the want. So wants are culturally determined, needs are physically or mentally determined. So in a selling situation, it's very important to understand, again, keep in mind that there's more than one way to skin a cat, so there's more than one way for your client to satisfy a need. So the first thing you need to do is to identify what are the basic needs that that person needs to satisfy, of course, but then to convince them that your particular solution is superior to others. And the competing solutions may not necessarily be directly competing brands. So, for example, if I have a need for stimulation or excitement or novelty, there's lots of different ways I can satisfy that. I might buy a ticket to the baseball game, or I might take that money and buy a ticket to the ballet, or I might spend it all on a home entertainment system and never leave the house. So as a salesperson, your job is to channel needs into wants and make sure that you understand where that person is coming from culturally. Don't assume that the way that they satisfy a need is the same way that you satisfy a need, first of all. And second, make sure that they understand that there may be a different way to satisfy that need that they haven't thought of. And guess what? You just happen to have the solution.